What's going on, everyone? It's Friday, October 3rd, and you're watching the Hammer Daily here on the Hammer Betting Network presented by FanDuel. And we got a great show for you today. I'm your host here, Jason Cooper, alongside my producer, Jacob Gramegna. And listen, Jacob, you were watching the watch-along last night.
I was.
I'm on mega tilt today. I'm on mega tilt because...
We're all aware.
Yeah, I think a lot of people saw that. And the best part is that I had a good betting day. In terms of like my props and what I bet, it was good. But I lost one of my survivor entries. And even though like I did better than than what I would have like lost in terms of theoretical value on a survivor entry this early in the season, I am still pissed about it. I'm still bothered.
How many survivor entries do you have?
I had two in a big one, and then I have another one that's a little smaller. That's a bowl entry. I think I had like 9-ish entries on the Rams as well of 25. So
okay,
I lost.
I was gonna say if you have like limited entries in the Rams, it's kind of a good thing they lost because what was it? The projection is you guys were talking about yesterday 25%.
Yeah,
got eliminated.
Yeah, and that kind of is what bothered me about taking the Rams. Is I mean some of these survivors you have to use a proxy service and you got to submit your pick before 3 p.m. and all that kind of stuff. And early on in the day, it looks like the projection was at like around 7 to 10%. And then as the day went on, I just saw that those numbers increase.
Right.
And if I knew that like there's going to be like 20, if I see 25 to 30, now I want as many people as possible on the Rams because I lost, obviously.
Yeah.
But like if I knew that there was going to be that many people, I probably wouldn't have clicked it. So anyways, it is what it is. I'm a little tilted. We've got a great show for you today. Going to walk you through our guests. Leading off the show, we have Andrew Gombas, UFC bettor, originator. He's going to come on, talk UFC 320. We have a big card tomorrow, which, I mean, if you're not going to be watching that, you should be. Even if you're at a bar watching Ankalev Pereira, Merab Devashali, Corey Sandhagen, great bantamweight fight. Excited for Yuri and Khalil Roundtree. Like two, stylistically, should be a fun and entertaining matchup. One of those fights, it will probably won't go all 3 rounds, but I want that to be a 5-round fight just because I want to see them fight more. We got a guy who's like a Muay Thai practitioner, technical Muay Thai fighter in Roundtree versus Yuri, who's like kind of like this drunken boxer, like does crazy stuff, always offline, had offline, moving off crazy. Like I love that kind of stuff. So really excited for that fight. We're going to talk about the UFC 320, then we're going to flip over. Second slot, we have Austin Mock here joining the show, breaking down some college football stuff. I'm going to ask him about the decision in overtime because this was a highly contested debate on Forward Progress yesterday. If it's the right thing to do with the new overtime rules to defer and go second or get the ball first.
What do you think?
It's context matters. I talked to some smart people about it, and what they told me is that it's all about what you think of your own team. So if you feel like you have a good offense, you should elect to go second. But if you feel like your defense is like your strong point, you should elect to go first.
The way I see it, obviously if you go second and the other team scores, you get to play 4 downs for every set. So you get 4 tries to get 10 yards every time because you have to go for 4 downs. But also, I think just the risk of... Because the Rams had to go for it on 4th down there, and it was the right decision.
Yeah.
Even though they had to go for it on 4th down because if they kick a field goal, they don't get the ball back again, and the Niners do and have a chance to win the game by going 20 yards up the field to kick a field goal.
Yeah. So I think that's part of the fact that I don't think people are considering is like if you're going second though, like you almost always have to score a touchdown unless they don't score at all. Yeah. You almost always have to because unless you're playing for a tie, which is fine. Like you can like playing for a tie is okay. Like, but in a divisional game, and honestly, maybe it was smarter for Sean McVay to kick a field goal there. Maybe you should have done that, especially if you're going to call.
No, you go for a 4th.
Yeah,
because then they get the ball back, and we saw Pinheiro kicked like a 59-yarder. The new kickoff rules, they may only have to go 20 yards to get in.
But if he decided to run, or like if he decided that this was going to be his 4 downs, that he was just going to kick the ball, they could have chewed up way more clock than they already had, right? And you could have left them with,
I suppose,
Mac Jones with no time.
But
yeah,
he wasn't. He went for the win.
He went for the win and he lost.
I commend him for that. Also, you have to what should factor in as well as the Rams' defense was
atrocious.
Beat up.
Atrocious.
So sending them out for the first drive when they're beat up and super fatigued, I don't know if that was the right decision either. I don't know. I'd probably have to look into it more, but for me, I'd rather get the ball first. And
I think that's fair. I didn't even mention who our third person is on the show today. So Many Sports is going to be coming on, talking some MLB
Blue
baseball.
Jays.
Hopefully we can talk a little bit about our Blue Jays, why they're such heavy
underdogs
in this series.
As the higher seed and home seed.
Quite ridiculous here. But before we get into today's show, just want to give a quick reminder to you guys about our Circles Off Q&A, which we have coming up. And there's a couple ways you can participate in the Q&A. Number one is to respond in the comment section down below. And just simply type a comment, and we will look at them, answer them, all that kind of stuff. Email us at circlesoff@thehammer.bet. Post in our Circles Off question and answer channel on Discord, or tweet at us at CirclesOffHQ. All right.
Sorry, can I just say before you go to the guest, that Q&A is going to happen next week.
So get your questions in.
Get your questions in now, because we're going to be recording that on Monday.
All right. Sounds good. Is Andrew here? Did he get a link? I don't see him. He's here. All right. Sounds good. Well, we'll bring him on in just a second here. At Andrew Gombas on Twitter. He's a pro sports bettor, MMA originator. You can find him on Twitter at Andrew Gombas. Andrew, how's it going today?
Doing well. Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here. First and foremost, let's go Yanks.
You saw that I put that in the rundown. No. We're from Toronto here. I don't want this. Listen, I don't want this to get out of hand. Like, I don't want us to start scrapping here. We're talking UFC. We're not promoting the fight here. But yeah, no. F the Yankees.
We'll see, man. It's gonna be a fun one for sure. I just spent the last 3 days holding my breath.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully we keep you holding your breath for longer and we make it a competitive series here, because the Bucks don't like they're counting us Blue Jays out already. But it's right, we're Toronto. We're used to being the underdogs here. Listen, we could talk all day about baseball if we wanted to, but we're here to talk some UFC, and I'm really excited for this UFC 320 card. And let's just dive right into things, right? Like Ankalaev against Pereira. Ankalaev right now -250, big favorite here. Incredible year, incredible 2024 from Poatan. Kind of ran through the light heavyweight division. Then he got stopped in his tracks against Ankalaev earlier this year. In that fight earlier in March, it seems like Pereira didn't really have any answers for Ankalaev. Like the 2 rounds that he won felt very very close rounds. And then the 3 that Ankalaev won felt very dominant. How do you see this fight shaking out for Ankalaev here and Poatan? Do you think that Poatan can crack what we saw in Ankalaev, or do you think it's going to be a repeat of the last fight that we saw?
Yeah, so it was funny going into the last fight. The narrative was, what if Ankalaev takes him down? What if he gets on top? And, he just beat him striking. Mm-hmm. So I feel like at this point in their careers, like especially Pereira, he's getting up there in age. I don't see him making any improvements. If anything, he's probably going to be the same fighter he was in that last fight, or if anything, maybe a slight decline. I think that Ankalaev, I've always thought and said that Ankalaev was a really bad matchup for him. Pereira landed 11 head strikes over 5 rounds last time, which it's very hard to win a fight when you are only landing 2 head strikes around. He got some leg kicks off, but Ankalaev was just landing the more impactful strikes. Anytime he wanted to put Pereira up against the cage, he could. And I do think if he does get a takedown, last fight he didn't, but I think if he does get 1 or 2, he's going to smash Pereira on top. And, I thought Ankalaev should have been a big favorite last time. Now it kind of seems to have caught up. I personally feel like 3-1 or close to it is fair for Ankalaev. He just has so many more ways to win. And I really didn't like what I saw from Pereira last time. It feels like Pereira's, his best, his 2 win conditions here is either landing a knockout punch, which is very hard to do when you're only landing 11 head strikes in a fight, for one of those to be a knockout punch, or to kind of skate by in a low volume type fight, like the last fight where he ends up doing a little bit more and pulling it out. I just think his margins are slim here. I think Ankalaev is going to get it done again.
Yeah, it's a tough sledding for Poatan. Obviously, very entertaining fighter. It sucks that we got him so late in his fighting career in the UFC, because he's, again, very entertaining. A guy who likes to strive for knockouts in a sport that feels like we're kind of losing our way in terms of a lot of fighters not really looking for that knockout punch and just kind of lulling their way to a decision. Anything you like here in terms of prop bets? Like last fight, we saw Ankalaev to go the distance to win one by decision. Plus 140 right now. Plus 140-ish across the board. I believe it's plus 148 on FanDuel. Do you like that at all, or any distance props here, or are you kind of like everything feels like it's in the right place this Friday, day before the fight?
Yeah, I think gun to my head, Ankalaev KO plus 290 at FanDuel right now would be my pick. I think he's the more likely of the two to get a knockout, which a lot of people wouldn't have believed me when I said that before their last fight. But he hurt Pereira really bad, if you remember, and he kind of got let off the hook. I think it was in that second round. But I think plus 290, it's a little bit off market. I do think that a KO is live here for Ankalaev, even if he gets on top. If you look at his career in the UFC and even before that, he never looks for submissions on top. It's pretty much always ground and pound. And I think if he gets on top, he could pound Pereira out here. I also think a knockout's live on the feet. So I think KO plus 290 would be my prop pick here.
All right, KO plus 290. You can find that on FanDuel, which I believe is the best price in market if I quickly scan here. All right, let's flip over and talk the co-main event, which is, I mean, a much more lopsided fight, but still just as entertaining. Merab taking on Corey Sandhagen. Merab minus 450 at FanDuel. Sandhagen, almost like a journeyman in the UFC in the bantamweight division, finally gets a crack at the belt. We've seen him fight for a couple interim belts. We've seen him fight in like title eliminators, but always seems to fall short when it matters most. Heavy underdog here. I mean, I don't see his path to victory against Merab, who is just so tenacious, cardio machine, like always pushing forward against like Sandhagen, who's a little bit more technical. But like once you see these technical guys get a little bit off base, they kind of struggle a little bit here. So how do you see this fight shaking out, Merab versus Corey Sandhagen?
Yeah, so Merab, in my opinion, is the pound for pound number one fighter on the planet. Sandhagen's a very good fighter. I do think he's up against it here. I agree with Merab being a big favorite. He's just off the charts in terms of cardio, in terms of pace. I'm not telling you guys anything you don't already know, but if you just look at, some of his numbers are staggering. Like even just go back a few to the Peter Yan fight. Like Peter Yan's probably, a top 3 or 4 fighter in the division. You could even argue number 2. He landed over 200 strikes against Yan. He took him down 11 times. Like, it's just unheard of. And then the Umar fight, like Merab was an underdog, like a pretty decent sized underdog. He just put up an insane cardio performance against Umar. Whereas when Sandhagen fought Umar, he started out well in that first round, but Umar kind of took over the rest of the way. I feel like Merab is going to get takedowns here. I don't think he's going to necessarily control Sandhagen for super long periods of time on the mat, but I do think just his pace is going to wear on him. His volume is through the roof. His cardio is endless. And although Sandhagen's cardio has looked very good in the past, this is just a different beast. And, Merab tends to be able to break anyone in there. So I think he gets it done.
Like gun to your head here, if you had to say this fight goes to decision, or if we get like a knockout or submission by Merab, because it seems like you're favoring Merab here pretty heavily. What would you pick the method of victory if you had to?
Gun to my head, I'd probably say decision. I personally am not playing it at minus 200, but I think that's the most likely scenario. Given the fact that Sandhagen's pretty hard to hit at distance. I don't, his jiu-jitsu is good, so it's not like Merab's going to get on top and just immediately submit him. And, Merab is the kind of guy who will really drag you through the ringer. He's not necessarily like a one-punch hitter, or he's not the type to get on top and pass guard and look for a submission. So I think decision is the most likely outcome here.
Yeah, absolute grinder Merab is. Is there anyone you see on the horizon for this bantamweight division that can kind of like handle Merab, or are we just going to see like a void at bantamweight for a little bit because Merab's going to be so dominant and like everyone's kind of going to be either going up or going down to try and avoid facing him?
Yeah, I mean, there's no one right now that I look at. I even though he just beat him, like Umar's still probably his toughest test. Like that was still a close fight. But I mean, it just depends like how much longer Merab's going to be on top for, because it's not exactly, he's going to be 35, which isn't old, but for like that light of a division, you typically don't stay on top at that age, at that division. So it'll be interesting to see if he does decline at all anytime soon, or if he just decides to bow out at some point, which he probably will.
Yeah, it seems like him retiring over someone coming up the ranks and taking him
Yeah.
down might be a little bit more probabilistic here. Another fight I want to talk about is Yuri versus Roundtree, Khalil Roundtree. I think that matchup is pretty incredible. One of the fights I'm probably most excited for. I think the stylistic matchup, I think I talked about it off the top of the show here, with like a hyper-technical Muay Thai fighter against Yuri, who's like a little bit unorthodox and like kind of is able to get his head offline and a little bit hard to hit, but also aggressive at the same time. I think this is like a super entertaining fight here. Do you have any bets on this fight, or like is this just something that you're going to be watching? Break down how you see this fight happening here.
Yeah, I don't have any bets on this fight. I think the line's probably pretty close to accurate. I was hoping that Yuri was not this big of a favorite, but at this price, I'm fine passing, just because he is a volatile fighter. He's a lot of really. He's a special skill set, I think is the best way to put it. When he first got to the UFC, I did not think he was going to be a guy who would fight for titles. Like, I just didn't. And it turns out, he just. I'm half joking when I say this. It seems like he has like superpowers in a sense, where he's just able to, pull stuff out. His durability has been really, really, really good up until this point. Like, I think the only time he's been finished is by Pereira. Like, even if you look at like the Dominic Reyes fight, like he was borderline knocked out in that fight and somehow just magically woke up and finds a way to win. He's elusive. He's big. Roundtree is technical. I haven't liked how Roundtree, if you look back 4 or 5 years into his career, I do still think he wilts when he faces adversity, where I feel like Yuri thrives in the adversity. Even if you look at the Ian Kudalaba fight, it seemed like he was just, I don't know if intimidated is the right word there, but something about Yuri's presence and physicality, I think you have to give him those advantages here. I think Yuri will likely win. Gun to my head, if I were to look for a bet here, I don't think the over 1.5 is bad at -150. I think there's probably a little bit of value on that. I think just given their styles, like I think Roundtree will kind of be a little hesitant at first, and I think Yuri, will kind of be feeling it out as well. So that'd be my lean there.
All right, over 1.5 -150. Gun to your head, obviously not. Just trying to talk through this card together. Yeah, like you mentioned with Yuri, though, the fact that he's willing to fight through adversity, it's partially probably because he's like a modern day samurai warrior living in the middle of the woods, just like an absolute crazy person, and can just kind of withstand anything. Any other bets you like on this card that you've bet already that are still available, or anything in terms of that nature?
Yeah, let me just pull up my sheet real quick. I'm still pretty old-fashioned here. I got
GRP style.
I got a pen and paper with my fair values and my bets. I played some. I hate giving out stuff that's like not there anymore. Like I played Joe Pyfer at like -205, -210. Like it's probably closer to fair now. I played Ankalaev at -224. I still think there's a little bit of value on that if you could get like -250, because I make the fight -300. And I also think that over in the Yuri fight is good at -150. I also lean. It's funny. There's a lot of heavy favorites on this card. I think there's like 8 fights that are -300 or higher, which is it's too much in my opinion. Like, I prefer to see -150, -175, -200. Even like some of these fights on the prelims, it's just. It makes it hard to bet, but the point of me saying that is I think a lot of the favorites are going to win on this card, and I think a lot of the overs are going to cash. So I know that's a very general, broad statement, but that's kind of my gut feeling for this card.
All right, then I guess one more question for you before you head out here. Any fights that you're most looking forward to between like the early prelims and the prelims? Like anything you're just excited for? Not from a betting perspective, just to watch, or it could just be to like extract more information from in the future. Any fighters you have circled on this card?
Yeah, I think an interesting one is it's going to be action packed. Is Daniel Santos versus Ju Sang Yu. Yu has come to the UFC, really powerful striker for the division. He's all action. And you look at a guy like Daniel Santos, who's just, fireworks every time he fights, endless gas tank. He's probably going to look to get some takedowns, but he's also going to be in Yu's face. So I think that's probably like banger potential. I also am interested to see how Patchy Mix rebounds. He came into the UFC with a lot of hype behind him, basically got thrown into a number one contenders fight and kind of dropped the ball. He's facing another debut who also has a grappling background. So really interested to see if Patchy Mix is able to rebound from that first fight coming over from Bellator. Kind of similar to how Pitbull did. He came over, laid a dud. Second fight, he got right after it and got a really good win. So those two, I think, are really ones to look for on this card, outside the main obvious ones.
Yeah, Daniel Santos minus 170, Ju Sang Yu plus 138, Patchy Mix minus 310, heavy favorite there against, I'm not even going to pronounce this other guy's, try to pronounce it, plus 240. Quickly before, one more question before you go. Any thoughts on like the guys who make the jump from Bellator or other products to the UFC? Are you a fan of seeing that? Like, just your opinions on that. How do they tend to like perform? Just give me your general thoughts on that.
I'm of the belief that UFC is king far and beyond. Like I typically am, I'm more tentative to buy the hype from people coming over because there is talent in other organizations. There are talented fighters in PFL. There are talented fighters in Bellator. There are talented fighters elsewhere. The UFC, I think I always say the most underappreciated fighter that exists is someone that's able to go long-term being like 500 level in the UFC. It's the most underappreciated thing because it's so hard to do, especially over a long period of time. You have these guys coming over from a Bellator where they might have had one fight of the caliber of someone who's in the UFC versus someone who's in the UFC that's had 10 fights the caliber of the UFC. They've been on the big stage before. Everyone they've fought is of that talent level. So I'm a bit of a UFC snob in that sense. I think I'm more cautious about buying hype on these guys. I mean, Patchy Mix is a perfect example. I was on Batista pretty heavy against him, and there's a lot of other guys in the division that I would favor against him as well.
All right. Appreciate your time, Andrew. You can go follow Andrew on Twitter at Andrew Gombas, Gombas. Appreciate you coming on. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate you having me.
All right. Go, Jay. See ya. All right. Great stuff there from Andrew. Hopefully we got some good information for you guys in the chat. Do us a favor there. Smash the like button. I see you guys in the chat. Get those likes up. Goes a long way for us here on the channel. Before we get into our next guest, before we bring on Austin, just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors over at FanDuel. The college football season is delivering weekly showdowns that you don't want to miss. And right now, all customers on FanDuel can score a 50% profit boost for this week's big match on campus between Miami and Florida State. Here's how it works. Place a bet on the game, apply your profit boost, and enjoy boosted winnings when your bet hits. And the best part is you get paid instantly when you win. Use your boost on bets like spread, over, under, team props, and so much more. Don't wait. Visit FanDuel.com/hitthebooks to download the app and boost your next bet on this week's marquee game. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas and affiliated with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt-in required. Bonus users no trouble. Profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 1-800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. All right. Up next, he's a staff writer at The Athletic. You've seen him on Forward Progress, Best Bets show, and he's a big football fan. Austin, how's it going?
Doing good, man. We've had a good run on the Forward Progress, so it's been a good week 2 weeks for me as well.
Yeah, you've been cooking. They tried to put you on the Tuesday show to sabotage the Tuesday show. It didn't work out, and seems like it's been working out for you. Before we get into things, I want to talk NFL with you quickly because highly debated topic at Forward Progress. in the chat last night on the live stream. Overtime. Do you elect to kick? Do you receive the ball? How do you approach things? What do the numbers say? Have you ran this sort of stuff? What's your opinion on it?
So I haven't done anything myself, but I know like Seth Walter at ESPN wrote a good article, and they even pulled some analytics staffers across the league, and it was a pretty 50-50 split. Their data suggested that it kind of depends on the kickoff, but the new kickoff rules kind of where if a team's going to be more likely to, like if it's a good kickoff team, you might be better off taking it second. If it's a bad kickoff team, you might be better off taking it first. I actually think, and this is kind of lost, I think, in the analytics, in betting space as well. I think the rule's pretty good to where it's so close to 50-50. I don't think and that's why I think it's been so heavily debated the last couple of years. I think it's not super, advantageous one way or the other. So I think it's a good rule, right around the 50-50. I would probably, I'd probably take the ball first, just because you get possibly that third possession. But like I said, it's not a huge. I'm not, married to one side or the other, as we have all the data we have right now.
Yeah. And I wonder if we'll see, because I was talking with Jacob a little bit earlier in the show, just like if you do take the ball second, you're almost always going to have to score a touchdown, because most teams are not just going to wilt away. And if the first team kicks the field goal, most teams aren't just going to wilt away, give away that third possession, and pray for a tie. They're just going to go for it regardless, like we saw last night. Your only other out is to kind of do what Green Bay did, where it's you run the clock out and you like hope for the tie. So a little interesting game through there. And I think I agree with you. It's pretty 50-50. I'm just on max tilt based off the Rams losing Survivor last week. Hopefully you had no Survivor on the Rams. But speaking of last week, you had a lot of fun. You were at the Penn State whiteout game. What was the atmosphere like there? Tell me a little bit. You're a Penn State fan, right?
Yeah, it's. I grew up here, so if you've ever been, you know that it's pretty legit. Like I've been to Ohio State, I've been to Michigan, I've been to the other big stadiums. I've been to Alabama. The whiteout is what Penn State's done really well with it is a production. It's like a show. They definitely lean into that, and it's pretty nuts. The stadium keeps the noise in. Everybody always talks about like the Seahawks stadium, and Penn State stadium is built similarly. So the noise level is pretty legit. And when it's the last couple of years, it's been like Minnesota, Iowa. It hasn't been as dramatic, but that game was rocking. And it's if you ever have the chance to go, I would suggest going.
Yeah, unfortunately, Penn State didn't get the result that they wanted, losing to Oregon in overtime, but nevertheless was an exciting game to watch, I'm sure. And you mentioned you're from Pennsylvania there. I think most people thought you were from Iowa just based off of last week. Let's get into some games because, again, you're on Iowa this week. Again, Iowa State at Cincy. Cincy minus 1.5, 55.5 total in the game. Are you sure you're not from – on your birth certificate doesn't say Iowa beside that name? Anyways, Cincinnati defense looks to be one of the worst in the country, especially against the pass. Iowa State's put on a strong showing the last couple of weeks. You've been high on them relative to market. Are you going to be high on them again? Is this a hashtag wrong team favorite situation?
Yeah, I totally think the hashtag wrong team favorite. I was on them last week. I was like a full field goal off of the number where it closed last week. They covered easily. The only concern with Iowa State right now is they are a little banged up. They have some injuries, which usually doesn't happen as much in college compared to like the NFL, which is like so injury prevalent during the week. So I just think like Iowa State is, for me, right there with Texas Tech at the top of the Big 12. And I don't think Cincinnati is even close really to that upper echelon of the league. And, minus 1.5, there's some minus 2.5 out there. This is kind of saying that these teams are equal, and I can't really get on board with that. So I believe FanDuel has the best price in market at plus 108 on the money line. I like that. They have a 2.5. It's I don't love 2.5s in college, but I like I said, I make them closer to a 3-point favorite in this game. So I am heavily on Iowa State again. Hopefully they can push through those injuries. But yeah, this is 3 bets in 2 weeks on the Iowa teams. 2-0 last week, so hopefully we can go 3-0 this week.
Yeah, it's sad we couldn't do the Iowa State Iowa parlay this week, but it is what it is. It is what it is. And just out of curiosity here, like obviously home field is a lot different from stadium to stadium, but like it seems like what would you like? I don't know if this is giving away too much here, and I don't know. You can choose not to answer, but I'm just curious what like how home differs from the NFL to college football, because like I'm more familiar with like home field advantage in the NFL. It's a lot less than it seems like it is in college football or being priced at in college football.
Yeah, I think you could probably see, a half point to a point more in college, but similarly to like the NFL has different home fields for every team. Now you have 136 or 7, how many ever teams there are now in college. You can have huge, like we were just talking about the whiteout with Penn State. That's a pretty big advantage. The bigger schools, when you're putting in 100,000 fans, you're probably going to get the bigger home field values. Tough places to travel to tend to have, bigger home field values. And then you have like some that there's no one, there might like, I was going to like some of those MAC games during the week, Tuesday night action. There might be, 1,000 people in the stands, and half of them are parents for both teams. So you get a pretty wide range of home field. Like I don't think Cincinnati's it's not anything. I have them around kind of your average college football team, but I'm not like, again, with that, I'm not saying that Cincinnati and Iowa State are equal here. So I am, that's why I'm back in the Cyclones.
All right. Back in the Cyclones this week, and probably going to be back in the Cyclones next week. I don't know. We'll see. It depends on what the market is saying. Up next, we got Vanderbilt at Alabama, 2 strong teams. And this is like the real first test for Vanderbilt this season. The product they've put on the field has looked really good. Their offense has been humming. But albeit, again, like I mentioned, versus lesser competition. Alabama, though, some strong showings against some good teams and much tougher opponents than what Vanderbilt has had to face. What is like Vanderbilt's path to victory here? How can you see them winning this game, if you can see them winning this game, and where does it go wrong for them?
Yeah, when you're at such a talent disadvantage in college football, like this is totally different than the NFL. Even like, the Niners last night, bunch of injuries. They're playing like a second team squad. They're only an 8.5 point underdog. And with these, this is now, spread is over 10.5 here. There's such a huge disadvantage for Vanderbilt. So you pretty much have to be perfect in every aspect. And we saw that with the Niners last night. So I think that it's kind of similar to the game script of last year. Last year when Vanderbilt upset Alabama, that game was, if you just looked at the box score, Alabama was the much better team. I believe there was a tipped pick 6. There were a couple other turnovers, if I remember correctly. Alabama was moving the ball efficiently, just, one of those games where, you don't end up in the end zone getting some points. So for Vanderbilt, it's got to be perfectly clean. You got to hope that Alabama just has one of those letdowns that, they beat Georgia last week. Maybe they're not crisp. Problem is, I'm not too much of a motivation guy, but that game was, I want to say, kind of embarrassing for Alabama last year. And 10.5 is not a great number, but I am fully on board with the Crimson Tide to make this game about 2 touchdowns. I will be on Alabama at minus 10.5. And the talent is too much. I think Kalen DeBoer, outside of that loss, even with that loss, that Florida State to start the year, I think we got a little too low on Bama. This is one of the best teams in the nation. I don't think Vanderbilt is a top 25 team per my model. So I think Alabama has a pretty big advantage here. I think they win by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I could see that happening as well. And I mean, like you said, not really like a motivation factor, but like a motivation to kind of just put them in the dirt and not take your foot off the gas and just consistently try and put up points, which, I mean, sometimes when teams are up by a lot, they just will stop doing that. So hopefully we can see that here from Alabama to cover that 10.5 point spread. Last game you want to talk about is Texas minus 4.5. Going into Florida, 42.5 total right here. Lower total, but again, similar to the first game we talked about in Iowa State and Cincy, this number feels like a little light on Texas. Florida has just been like one of the most disappointing teams, maybe the most disappointing team this year so far. Super porous defense. Their offense just can't seem to get anything going. And this strong Texas D, I don't see how Florida can cover this 4.5 points here. So, like, again, this Texas D, one of the toughest in the country. So how would you break down this game here? Are you kind of in agreement with me where you feel like Texas is a little short?
Yeah, so it's funny. I was kind of low on Texas coming into the year. I bet Ohio State in that opening game. I thought the Arch Manning, first overall pick was a little premature because we hadn't really seen him as a starter. We hadn't he didn't beat out Quinn Ewers last year. I take that as a pretty big data point that we weren't going to have this amazing, efficient quarterback right out of the gates. So Florida's at home, but this team, like the offense is so broken. I think the offensive line play, they're weak there. I don't think they have enough there to hold up against Texas. Texas is the number 1 ranked defense per my numbers. And so I think Texas's front will be able to get after DJ Lagway, who's been like, you've seen the flashes in his, he was a super high rated recruit. He just hasn't quite put it all together, whether that's the personnel around him and whatnot. They haven't eclipsed more than 16 points. The 16 points was the highest point total for Florida this year, and that was against USF. And you're telling me they're going to be able to move the ball against this, again, great Texas defense? I can't see it. This was closer to a touchdown early in the week. My numbers lean more towards that being the correct line here. So 4.5 in market. If it keeps going lower, I'll just grab some more. But I can't imagine we go too much lower here with Texas. So I will grab Texas. I think they cover. I do not like Florida's chances to score points in this one.
What do you think is like attributing to this move of it moving off 7.5 and like starting to like dwindle down? Is it teams buying up or people buying up Florida? Is it people low on Texas? Is it like 3-letter services giving it out and like moving the line? Like what's going on here?
Yeah, I can't speak to who's giving it out and whatnot, but obviously some people with some influence are on the Florida side. But I just go back, like I have not been high on Texas. That's kind of how, obviously I go off of my numbers, but it's kind of nice sometimes when you see a team that you're not high on, a team that you faded, and you kind of get like, hey, now I'm actually on that side. I talk about that quite a bit on Forward Progress too. Like this is not a team that I've shown value on. So the market's adjusting against them. They're now in the range for me. So that's kind of what's going on here with Texas. Maybe I'm too low on Florida, but they've shown nothing to date that excites me. I think the defense is pretty solid. But again, the offense and with how difficult their schedule is, I don't like, if you told me Florida goes 3-9, I totally believe it with how difficult things are and the state of their offense. I don't think the vibes are great in Florida either. So maybe someone has a numbers advantage on it. I'll gladly. I'm not afraid of the market most of the time. I'll gladly take Texas. All right,
I love it. You can never be afraid of the market. I understand the market's usually efficient, but you know what? Sometimes you gotta stake your claim.
Wrong.
Yeah, so like the market can be wrong. It's only right like 55% of the time, or whatever it has to be. That's good. That was good math. Before we head out here, before I let you go, any game that you're looking forward to the most that we haven't talked about yet on this slate, whether it be from a betting perspective or just something you want to get more information out of.
Yeah, so Miami, Florida State. I'm interested.
Of course.
One, just because it's like I'm not even that old, and Miami, Florida State, just like that rivalry just says college football to me.
Yep.
And to see, I know Florida State lost last week, but Miami defensive line looks awesome. Bain looks incredible. Could be in line for the first overall pick. Really interested to see if Miami can. I guess keep looking like the real deal. This has been one of the things with the Cristobal. Just his coaching career, no matter where he's been, is just there's always a game that he kind of lays an egg a bit. So very interested for that. At Florida State, should be rocking. Numbers wise, I do lean Florida State, but I wonder if I'm catching up to how good Miami is in the trenches, because they I think they have an argument for having maybe the best offense and defensive line combo in the country. So that's the one that I'm looking most forward to this weekend.
All right. Obviously, a lot of people are going to be watching that game, as I will be as well. Austin, appreciate you joining the show today. Hope you have a good rest of your weekend. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. Have a good one.
All right. See you, Austin. All right. Great stuff there from Austin. One's in the chat for Austin, as it always goes. Up next, we got Mr. So Money Sports. He's going to talk about some baseball and tell me why the F our Blue Jays are plus 132 dogs against the Yankees. What the hell are we doing here? Let's figure it out, guys. Let's figure this out. Before we do that, just want to give a quick little tip for you guys. If you're betting without a pro-grade odds screen, you're already way behind. BetStamp Pro is the odds screen trusted by pros to move first and to win at scale. For the first time, you can unlock the standalone main market screen with without the full props package, just for $99 a month when billed annually. Built for speed, built for precision, BetStamp Pro tracks over 150 sports books, including offshores, exchanges, and PPH books that other odds screens tend to miss. And as a Hammer listener, you're not getting the standard 7-day trial. You're unlocking a full 14-day trial to put it to the test. Don't wait. Claim your free trial today by scanning the QR code or hitting the link in the description. That's betstamp.com/trial, or scan the link or scan the QR code on screen. All right. Let's bring up So Money. Here is a NFL, CFL, NHL, MLB, tennis better. He's a tortured Canucks fan, loves talking ball. So Money, how's it going, my man?
Good, Jason. How you doing, buddy?
Good. It's always a pleasure to have you on screen. You're always smiling and happy. It's like it's just a pleasure to have you on. Chat loves you. Everybody loves you. It's much better when you come on talk hockey instead of Moretto. But hey, we're not here to talk hockey. We're talking a little bit about about some MLB here, and I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know where to start here. I guess we got to start with our Blue Jays, because what the heck is going on? Why are we such, in terms of the series, why are we opening up as dogs against the Yankees? I get we closed out the season pretty poorly, but right now Yankees minus 156 to win the series. Toronto plus 132 at FanDuel. Can you break down a little bit why you see there's such a discrepancy here in what I think the odds should be and what they actually are? What's the market saying about our Blue Jays?
Yeah, I mean, you're always going to have market sentiment going towards the Yankees, especially with the way that the season ended. You had the Yankees actually catch up to the Jays, and the Jays won the division on the basis of their head-to-head record. So combine that with the Yankees, you're as a bookmaker, you're always able to charge a premium on the Yankees, and you know that you're going to be pretty much always in a comfortable position when you're able to charge that premium. So people are going to continue betting the Yankees. Bigger market sentiment is there. So that's essentially the reason why.
All right. And anything you like in terms of the odds of this series? Are you clicking Jays at plus 132, or are you just gonna kind of bet them every game? Because it seems like they're underdogs again at home to start this series. They're favored minus 124, but again underdog in the series. You looking to click the Jays here at plus 132 on the series price? What are your thoughts here?
Absolutely. I will. I have bet the Jays. I'll probably bet them a little closer to the first pitch of game one here. And I think it's going to be a tight series. There's no disrespect here to the Yankees. They are deserving to be here. The Jays do have some matchup problems that I think the Yankees can take advantage of, especially if the Jays are not consistently making contact. They have been doing it all year. There's no reason for me to think they won't, but these are the playoffs, and like things can change in the playoffs sometimes. So, and of course, I like the depth on the Yankees bullpen a lot better than I do on the Jays. So there are issues here for the Jays. It's not going to be easy, but because it's going to, in my opinion, it's going to be a prolonged, tight series, which should go the full 5 games. I do want to take the dog in that situation. All right, and I do think the Jays are being undervalued.
Okay, who's going to go for the Jays then, Scherzer or Bassett? I think there's like a little bit of debate going on there. Who would you? I obviously know who you would have, but who do you think it should be, or who do you think it will be if you're trying to be more predictive here?
I think it's going to be Scherzer.
All right, we're cooked. We're cooked. I would like to see him move back to the bullpen, or move into the bullpen, but it is what it is. Let's talk. Don't have to make this all about the Jays. Other people want to talk about some other series as well. Let's start with the Cubs taking on the Brewers. Tight series here, minus 116 in favor of the Brewers. Anything you like in terms of the odds here? How would you break down this series?
So I do like the Cubs. I've mentioned it before. I view the Brewers as the most complete team in the playoffs. They do everything well for fundamental baseball. They got the pitching, they got the depth. They do everything well. So of course I want the Cubs to win. I'm not going to bet them for the series. I do, of course. We have the Cubs to win the World Series, but this is going to be a real tough one for them. I do like the way that they match up in the sense that that's a very versatile lineup, 1 through 9. They play good defense. Whatever they're lacking on the top end of their rotation, I think that they more than make up for with the depth throughout their pitching staff. So I think the Cubs will hang in there. It's going to be tough. They're not going to be able to afford to go prolonged periods of time without generating offense. So and the Brewers are going to keep coming. So it's going to be tough, but I won't be betting the Cubs in this series because the number is not there. Yeah. But we will be cheering for the Cubs, though.
Of course, you already have that 14-1 future that we talked about. And if anyone tuned into the futures betting extravaganza late in August, it's all over a month now. Holy smokes! They would also have scooped up that 14-1 ticket. Let's move on. Let's talk about the Tigers and the Mariners. Mariners minus 172 to win the series. Heavy favorites here. We saw the Tigers kind of limp their way into the playoffs, almost miss it, completely crumbled there. Do you like the Mariners, or do you feel like the number has gone too far out on them here?
So this is a little tough for me because when I used to be a fan of teams when I was younger, I did grow up a Mariners fan. I grew up in the Ken Griffey Jr., Jay Buhner, Edgar Martinez days. So I was a Mariners fan. Now, I don't have any money on the Mariners. I wish I did because I do feel a tinge of nostalgia with the Mariners this year. So if it's not the Blue Jays or the Cubs for monetary reasons, I hope it's the Mariners for nostalgic reasons. In terms of the series, I think that the Mariners have gotten a little too far ahead here. I do see value in the Tigers. Let's not forget the Tigers had one bad month, right? It just so happens that their bad month happened to be at the end of the season where they blew the division, right? Like that's just a timing thing. I liked how they responded in the Cleveland series. That was a tight series, and the Tigers' bats finally came alive. They don't have the firepower, obviously, that the Mariners do, but they have consistency throughout their lineup. And I think that getting Skubal twice in this series, games 2 and 5, I believe, that's going to be a benefit for them, right? So, and if the Mariners are going to be relying, I never want to lay this much on a team that is so dependent on the long ball as the Mariners are, and because that can be neutralized in a short series. So I do see value on the Tigers here, but I wouldn't be too upset if the Mariners won this series.
All right, you see value, but you don't want to. You want to keep with your heart. Don't want to hedge against your heart. So yeah, maybe I'll click the Tigers in honor of you. Last game to talk about, or last series, to talk about here is the Dodgers and the Phillies. Very tight series here. Dodgers minus 124, favorite to win the series. Obviously, we know how good their bats are. We know how good their pitching staff is. But Phillies, also a great team too. Break down this series for us here. Who do you got winning?
Yeah, without the if they had Wheeler healthy, I'd be all in on the Phillies jersey. The Dodgers bats came alive against Cincinnati. I don't want to speak disparagingly of the Reds because they did deserve to be there, but it wasn't really a matchup. It was the Dodgers pretty much had a bye there, and they were able to do anything they wanted. The bats came alive. So I'm not upgrading the Dodgers too much at this point. I'm still concerned about their bullpen. They are prone to the meltdown still. So that is concerning. The equalizer here is, and we've seen this throughout the year, that the Dodgers they are prone to also go stretches this season without generating enough offense. So if they run into that situation here, I think that the Phillies win this, because I do believe that the Phillies are going to be able to generate offense consistently, and I think that that the bullpen issues for the Dodgers, they didn't really resolve it, and it's something that I think that it could come up again in this series.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I wonder, I don't know if this would affect things, but it seems like against the Reds, I think it was Hunter Green. I saw somewhere on Twitter, I think ESPN tweeted out that Hunter Green was like tipping his pitches, which might have like led to this offensive output of obviously the Dodgers still great offense and can absolutely rake and smoke the ball there. But I wonder if that might affect things here and might be having like a slight impact on the price. Anyways, let's talk about these games. Anything you got in terms of this Saturday slate of games? Any game you like? I assume it's going to be like just a derivative of what you like in the series, but maybe any props or anything of that nature.
Yeah, so I'm in game one. I'm going to see how much farther the Cubs get here. I would like to bet the Cubs in game one. Obviously, Peralta going for the Brewers. He's going to be an issue, but I think that that the price is going to get a little bit inflated there on the Cubs. I think that Toronto is right where they should be right now for game one. Probably won't get involved in the game there. And in the Dodgers-Phillies series, I want to actually see how much money that the Dodgers take here. I might come in on the Phillies a little bit later if I can get a minus 110 or cheaper there. And then Seattle-Detroit. Unfortunately, I will probably have to bet the Tigers in game one. I just think that, like I mentioned earlier, it's just too big of a number here on the Mariners.
Yeah, Mariners minus 220 to win in this first game here, plus 184. Yeah, so many. That's about it. Any last thoughts here on the these playoffs? Any like series props you're looking at, or maybe awards props, or anything of that nature that you're looking towards, or you're kind of just laying off everything else in terms of the futures market?
Right now, I'm laying off everything. I've been getting ready for the NHL season, so a lot of my time has been spent there. We got NBA preseason starting. If you know me, you know how much I love betting preseasons in like every sport. So the NBA preseason is there. So yeah, I've got tons going on right now. It's a good time. It's a good month, and we're lucky to be able to do this every day.
Oh yeah, we're diving back into things soon. We're going to be in the swing of things. All the major sports are starting: basketball, hockey, of course. Quickly before I let you go, though, for the Panthers, a couple weeks ago or maybe a week ago, lost Barkov, might be out for the season. Path to the playoffs here, path to like the Eastern Conference Finals for my Leafs. Are you liking that? How did you react to that news? Did you instantly click the Leafs? Did you instantly click the Lightning? Did you look at maybe Florida Panthers win total under, or did you do what I did, like Florida Panthers to miss the playoffs at like some plus 500 numbers, which was kind of crazy out there? What was your reaction to that news?
So my initial inclination was to look at the Tampa Bay Lightning to win that division. The problem, though, is that I'm not sure what's going on with Vasilevsky right now. So Leafs, I just can't get there right now, Jason. It's just one of those things where I need to see. I just need to see more. I need to see how they're going to come out this season. What like the attitude is like. I am of the thought process that I think they'll be fine, but I've felt that they were going to be fine the last 2 years as well, right? So, and you've thought that they're going to be fine for many, many years before that. So, this is one of those things where I kind of want to see where the Leafs are first. I do think that division is wide open now, completely wide open. Every team is flawed. Every team has questions, and even looking at like the out of the top three, like something of a just a real dog number on one of those other teams might be something to be considered as well.
Yeah, for sure. No Vasi there. Like that's what I'm saying. Like it's almost forcing you to play the Leafs. But again, how can anyone believe in this team? I'm saying that as a fan of this team too. And also got to set a reminder on my phone because I know like come March. Like mid-March-ish, we're going to start to get reports of Barkov might be ready for the playoffs, maybe, potentially. He'll end up playing in the playoffs, and we'll get some crazy numbers on the Panthers to win the Stanley Cup after they rock a three-peat. So anyways, So Money, I appreciate you joining the show. We'll talk soon.
Sounds good. Thank you, Jason.
All right, see you, So Money. Can't wait to talk NHL with him soon. NHL season's around the corner. It's going to be a lot of fun here. And that wraps up the show today, guys. If you enjoyed it, do us a favor, smash that like button. And, Jacob, if you have a chance in the chat, can you just ban whoever just made that last comment there, Habs Year? Can you ban him from the chat, please? Like,
with pleasure.
Remove him from the channel, please. Don't need to see that negativity anywhere, even though it's positivity. But F them Habs. F them Habs. Anyways, like I said, smash like button goes a long way for us here on the channel. If you want to do us a huge favor as well, hit that subscribe button. If you're new here, you feel like we've earned your subscribe, smash it. Goes a long way. You can also hit the notification bell to be notified every single time that we go live. We are live Monday to Friday, noon to 1 here on the Hammer Daily, or the Hammer HQ YouTube channel here on the Hammer Daily. So, yeah, free content. Just do us a favor. Give us those internet points. It takes you 1 second, and it goes a long way for us here on the channel. Luckily, guys, I have some UFC picks for you if you stuck around for the entire show. Some special stuff. Listen, you can trust me on this or not. I have a sharp friend who bets UFC stuff, and he prefers to name nameless, but he gave me 2 picks. He said, let me just quickly pull this up here. Ankalaev to win by decision, +1, good 2, +140. If you can find better numbers out there, go play it. It's a good price. And then also the Ankalaev fight, just to go the distance, Ankalaev and Pereira, +115 or better if you can find it. So yeah, two great bets from a sharp UFC MMA better. Go bet it. Hopefully I earned your like and I earned your subscribe. And if you're watching on Saturday, you didn't end up liking and subscribing to the show, and those bets cash, come back here, smash the like button and subscribe. Anyways, up next on the Hammer, we got today's Friday, so 5 p.m. Eastern time, we have hit the books. And if you haven't already tuned in to Circle Back in the morning, it's out. It's live now on 8. It came out 8 a.m. Eastern time on this morning. Go listen to it. Great show. Storm Pig. Was it Storm Pig?
Yeah,
Jacob,
Storm Pig.
And Fluppin' Kanish.
Yes.
Sorry, Kanish is kind of forgettable. Anyways.
It's a great show. We had a great show this week.
It's a great show every week. It's a great show every week.
It's tough to not do well. I mean, we just work with the content we have. It's always great, and we got the best characters to talk about it.
I don't know how it's like the content from gambling Twitter just never seems to run dry. It's amazing stuff.
We've never struggled to find enough topics. The struggle every week is what not to put on the show.
Yeah,
and how to make it short enough.
Yeah, I was always worried in the offseason, like, how are we going to do this? But it's almost like things ramp up in the craziness of things in the offseason of like August and July. Those are some of the best.
The content never runs dry.
All right, go check that out. Circles Off HQ YouTube channel. And a reminder, if you want to ask, go to the Q&A. Check out our Discord. Email circlesoff@thehammer.bet. If you want to do all that stuff.
Yeah, let me just say it again. We're recording this on Monday, so get your questions in ASAP so that you can have your questions answered for that.
When you say next week, I thought we had time. Like, no, okay, I gotta fire up the burner accounts then. All right, guys. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. Monday, we have Corby Craig coming on. We're going to be recapping the week that was, week 6 of college football. Look ahead to week 7. Judah's going to come on, break down the Monday night football game. Hopefully I don't have a survivor pick in there and I don't lose my freaking mind. Hopefully I'm still around for Monday, counting my chickens before they hatch. And then we have a super special guest in the middle slot who I will reveal to you on Monday. If you want to see who it is, you're going to have to tune in. Again, you guys just been watching the Hammer Daily here on the Hammer HQ YouTube channel, sponsored by FanDuel. Appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week.